Are we live? Are we live? Oh, I think we're about to be live. As soon as I see what's going on. It's showtime. It's time to light the lights. Nice. Ryan Walterson didn't say that. Hello, Jordan Sloflo, Dex the Deer Herder, Bruce Parker, Kit the Mystical, Austin. Are we recording? It says I'm live. I don't know. I hate the lag thing. True from Bruce Parker. Making me nervous. Oh, there we are. Man, YouTube's making me nervous today. Anyway, sorry. Meeks Animation Studio, Ace the Wind Rider, Bruce Parker, Cornbread, Dex Deer Herder, I think I said already, Jordan Salafalo. Anyway, it's good to be here after a long MomoCon day. Whoa, whoa. With wacky old Jim. Ha ha ha, that's funny. From Not Plausible. Sid Ram's here. Buster's here. Hopefully he won't knock something over. He is good with that. Anyway, sending out the inaugural tweet. Ocean City's trending. I hope that's a good reason. Anyway, oh, Paleo's here. Bruce Parker, Ryan Wilcherson, Alex Davis, Kit the Mystical, I've said already. Everybody, I don't know. I hope Cartoon Freak, Will. Cool. Okay, I was getting nervous there. I was, because it wasn't, anyway. Hey! What's up? It is Movie Crap Live. It is Saturday night out of a long day of MomoCon screaming. There wasn't any screaming. But Nathaniel Fogo, William Ellman, hello. But yes, Viscount's here. Cool. But yes, done a bunch of MomoCon panels. Done for that for now. And now I'm here spending a Saturday night with you guys talking about some movie news. Buster is here also. Say hey. Ho. Hey. Ho. See, why do you want to come on this? You never want to be on camera. You just want to knock over my stuff, huh? Okay, alright. You want to say, wow, don't rip this shirt, please. Oh, God. Okay. We're okay. I like this shirt. I don't know. Anyway. Wow, yeah, today was busy. The camera's a little slanty. We're just going to go with it. Is that cool? I think no, my hair looks okay. Anyway, sorry. Yeah. So I don't like this camera angle. No, there we go. I guess that's how we're doing it. All right. So, does anyone cover the camera angle? Probably not. All right. So yeah. Today was crazy. It was cool doing MomoCon. It's cool to support. I would say it is my favorite convention. It's a convention that means the most to me for obvious reasons, because I get to see all my friends there. I get to see Pizza Party. That's how I met Pizza Party in real life. See Paleo and Saber and Jax and Katie and Nintendo, Cosmodore, everybody, the Roundtable crew. Probably Leah. Probably leaving Salty. I'm definitely leaving someone out, but I love that convention, and I was very happy to give something back to them, because obviously we can't get to Atlanta, but I wanted to do something to support that convention, and I'm glad I did. That's why @MomoCon is on my Twitter today. I think it'll go away after the stream probably, but I thought, hey, I'm still doing the convention, so try to watch their streams, check them out, send them some love, because they need it, and they deserve it. They're a great convention, and I'm happy to have worked with them. And that Pizza Party stream was amazing. Nesca, that's true. Nesca as well. Spo. But that Pizza Party stream was amazing. Seeing the pictures, there's no way it's not emotional today, because you just think about what it would be like being there, and that sucks. You can't not think of that. So that definitely messed with me. I saw Izzy was tweeting about that, and I almost responded, but it's kind of almost too emotional to really process that. It just sucks. Yeah, but it was also great to see Paleo and Saber today do How to YouTube with them. I thought was, hey, whoa, hold up. The professional party podcast with Grouchy Noel, Izzy Girl, Ginger Jim, and your host, Bake Lasagna. Nice. Nice for the first super chat of the night with Ryan Walterson. Thank you. Cheers to you. I have a sugar-free Red Bull. This is the sugar-free. I saw some people like, did I get sugar-free Red Bulls? I have one here. The other one is not. I can only get one at the store. I don't really do a long search at just like the fridge at the grocery store, and because I go grocery shopping on Saturdays. So I pick up Red Bulls. So maybe I'll try to look out when I do. I don't do grocery shopping a lot because everything. Before I get into the news and the Snyder Cut, one cool thing. So what I've been doing with Sophie every Friday is her and I watch a movie together. We go get ice cream when I get off work. We go and then we watch a movie. And throughout the whole week, I hype up the movie. And I go, we're going to watch this movie on Friday when I get off work. And she's all into it. And last Friday, it was Scoob. And she likes Scoob. Kids like Scoob. Parents, adults, not so much. But we watched it. She was excited. She liked it. This week, all week, I was hyping up Spider-Man. Oh, hey, hold on. Many thanks to the 30-plus chatters who wished me happy birthday last week. You're all the best. Awesome. I'm glad you saw that, Sinram. And happy birthday again. Sinram's great. And thank you for helping me with the Netflix recommendations video. That was very nice of you. Cheers to you. Thank you for the super chat. But yeah, so we do that every week. And all week I told her, we're going to watch this Spider-Man movie. And she saw the Spider-Man figure you've seen in my videos, who's pretty much become hers at this point. And she, was hyped up for it and watched it. And she likes Spider-Verse. Some of the quieter moments, which believe it or not, that movie does have, character building stuff, she wasn't as into because she, she's 3. But there's so many colors and things going on in that movie. When it does have stuff going on, it was hard for her not to pay attention. So in some ways, I think it might have been, I might have done it a year or two too early. But she liked Penny Parker, I believe, with the robot. She loved her and really wants to watch more movies with girls with robots. So I think Next Gen I saw on Netflix is maybe kid appropriate. So I'm going to look and see if I can find other girl appropriate things. Oh, hold on. But if you guys have ideas for that, actually, comment in this video. Don't do it in the chat, because I'll probably miss it, but comment below. But hold on, we have a super chat from Saber Sparks. Hey, Jimothy, question for you. You got $1 million, but everything you touch turns to Red Bull. Would you do it? No, that would be horrible. Why would you make someone do that? That's terrible. Even my cat Toulouse doesn't like that. Then I couldn't touch, like, people. Like, then if you touched a person, they would just turn into Red Bulls and you'd start crying. You'd be like, my mom turned to Red Bulls! If anyone wants to animate that, don't. But you could. My mom turned to Red Bulls. Oh, I would not recommend Next Gen for young kids for Jonah. Next Gen is really dark. Okay, never mind. Are you going to watch Howl's Moving Castle? That's not my favorite. I think we are going to do Ponyo next Friday. It's the plan. We'll see. Anyway, cheers to you. Ali Sheedy and Short Circus, Sinram. Cheers to you, Sinram. Cheers to you. You guys could tell it was Toulouse. Did I say Toulouse? Anyway. So yeah, I think today was crazy. It was really cool doing the panel with... Oh, hold on. Also watch the POS Podcast Hour with Stalio Penno, Sapabert Sark, Black's Jade, Sirahashi, and sometimes Ollie Tomover. POS Podcast Love. Cheers. Cheers to you, Ryan, again. All right. So now we've gotten over... But it was cool. Talking about YouTube was cool. I like doing How to YouTube. I hope we answered some good questions. I thought it was a good panel. If you can watch that, I thought it would good for that. No, we've seen Toy Story 2 a lot of times. Trust me, she don't need to see that again ever in her life. So before we get into the main show here, let me say the things. First off, join the Discord. It's really great. There is a Ask Jim channel, and you can ask me questions at any time during the week, and I will answer them. as well as you can get updates and other things about me, and you can join this great community. If you like hanging out with the chat, I think I have a pretty good community going on with the fans and stuff, and if you want to hang out with them, join the Discord. It's in the description below. If you would like to support me and everything, if you'd like to support me and the videos that I make, pretty much most of my videos are fan supported. So if you'd like to support my channel and let me to continue to make content, then either do so through super chats during the show or my Patreon, which is listed in the description. It really is I'm like kind of a fan funded sort of an operation. So any support is very much, any support is very much appreciated, and I thank you very much for doing so. If you're financially able to, I understand it is rough times, but if you're able to, I very much appreciate it. Just watching and liking and so forth is awesome. Ryan Walterson says, Discord, Tatcord, Haircord, Thirdcord from Ryan Walterson. Cheers to you. Bloxy Oxenwinkle said, what's the Kevin James topic tonight? I'm not covering Kevin James every night, but cheers to you anyway. But I am going to do that separate segment video at some point. That is going to happen, so don't worry about that. And Austin said, what flavor of ice cream, and did she get a cone? Cheers to you. Well, Austin, that is true. Last week it was a big deal for her to have ice cream and a cone. It was her first time having ice cream and a cone. She loved it. We did that again, but I have to get the cone and the ice cream separate, and then I have to assemble it. That is great at some people. But she had Ovaltine flavored. It's kind of a special, like, mom and pop place, and they didn't have what she had last time, which was Sorrel, which is an interesting flavor. They're a cool place. If you're ever in Brooklyn, Ice Pops is wonderful. But she got Ovaltine, which is, like, obviously a kind of chocolate, but she loved it. And we still have some left over. Not that you needed to know that. I don't know. Sorry. Discount Viscount said, what's the better movie, The Last Unicorn or Dragonheart? Cheers to you, Discount Viscount. I haven't seen Last Unicorn in a very long time, as well as Dragonheart. Part of me just wants to say Last Unicorn, although I do sort of want to rewatch Dragonheart. I would like to do that at some point. So that's an interesting question. I'm going to say Last Unicorn. Cheers to you. I saw Dragonheart in theaters opening weekend, by the way. Also, hello, Nick Nitro. How you doing? All right. Cheers to you, Discount Viscount. Before I get into the news, I'm going to do two segments today. One is the Reno 911 Quibi episodes. It's considered probably the best thing on Quibi, and that's not an exaggeration, believe it or not. And I haven't announced this, I'm going to be doing a segment on the Youngblood cartoon that never happened, because I'm interested in it, and why not? I am going to do a Heat Vision and Jack at some point. I know someone's going to ask about that. There are 5 Dragonheart movies? How? What? No. Why? No. Why did you just... Now I have to think about that. I don't... Really? How would you... Now I gotta look that up later. I don't... That was a real live reaction to... Dragon... Anyway. I thought this was the Kevin James fan cast. If Kevin James will show up to my apartment and do a whole movie crap with me, I will talk about him for at least that whole episode. Also, he has to wait in my hallway for 2 weeks because quarantine. So straight to DVD. Well, I mean, duh, it was straight to DVD. Why does Paleo know everything about franchises that only exist on straight to DVD far too long? It's like that, Land Before Time. Now I want Paleo to... Have you reviewed all the Land Before Time's, Paleo? I feel like if you haven't. And there are 4 Norman the North movies. Did you ever see... Oh, Nick Nitro was ever saw the Ip Man movies. I've seen a few, but there's a lot, aren't there? And then there's other versions of the Ip Man, like the one that Wong Kar-wai did, that I liked it, but I know a lot of Ip Man people don't, because it's not really an Ip Man movie. It's just about the guy who became Ip Man. Whatever. It's the whole thing. Anyway. I have this up for some reason. Cheers to someone. I think it was Black Sox. Cheers to you. Anyway. Sorry. This is going to be a wacky one, since I'm clearly going to fall asleep after this. Doing 2 streams. A little too ambitious, but I'm glad I did it. But yeah. Reno 911, Youngblood. are the segments at the end and all that. All right, so now hold on. I want to have the cinematic universe thing ready. All right, the Snyder Cut is coming out. This is a real thing. A lot of people have a lot of opinions on the Snyder Cut thing, I've noticed, and seem to think that there's like all these things that could happen, or there's all these reasons that the Snyder Cut got approved and all this stuff. Sure, but it is getting released by HBO Max. It seems that there will probably be at some point it could be a show, like a mini series is kind of the idea, not potentially a 4-hour movie. But here's the thing about the Snyder Cut is it's getting a lot of press because of what it is, and you get a lot of clicks because it's a meme and it's funny, because why would you ever want that sort of thing? It sounds really stupid because, like, did you see his other movies that he made for the DC? Like, is the best one Man of Steel? That's not great. And even if we're being, I think that's the best one. And I think Justice League was actually not the worst. Like, Batman v Superman is the worst. Probably. I don't remember. Austin says it's more like WB giving money to make it. That's true. Cheers to Austin. But basically, HBO Max doesn't have many originals that are getting people excited. They got a lot of people excited. Hold on. Hold on. I gotta back up there. A lot of super chats there. Black Saxon bought a Baby Sonic old live action design plush today. Thought you'd want to know that. It's kind of cute in a hideous way. Can't find a Paul Blart one. Please take a picture of that plush and reply to me on Twitter with it. I'd like to see it. Cheers to you. I will retweet it after the show. And Zane Powers, Zane Powers says, remember the Snyder Cut Forces has your back. I guess so. Cheers to you, Zane Powers. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah. But it's basically that. It's a meme. But HBO Max doesn't have a lot of originals. We're excited. Animation community's like, we have Close Enough, we have Looney Tunes, we have the not so, they have good Sesame Street content. Everyone who I know is excited for it, but most normal people aren't, because they don't have this big kind of massive thing. And there was a lot of questions on Disney Plus's originals, and they had a huge hit with Mandalorian. And a lot of people have said that this is sort of like, oh shit, we don't really have a Mandalorian. Why don't we just like figure something out with this Snyder Cut thing? The thing about that is, I don't think anyone thinks this is gonna be like good or is curious. We're curious about it because we know it'll do well if we review it. That's basically what they've put the whole movie reviewer thing there. So I mean, that's basically, they know this will create noise. And in terms of movies being bought for streaming, 30 million is actually pretty low. The amount of press they've just gotten for HBO Max a week before launch, I think we're a couple days before launch, is great. And for that 30 million, they're good. The other thing that's interesting is everyone who was kind of a big proponent of the Snyder Cut did this thing, which I like to call the fake moon landing thing, where I don't know if you ever followed the people who believe the moon landing isn't real, but I do not believe. I believe we went to the moon. But basically, they had this theory that we didn't go to the moon, and that Stanley Kubrick filmed this thing because I should make a video about this at one point, because we couldn't go to the moon, and they wanted to do this big PR thing. So they had Stanley Kubrick, who was making 2001, film the moon landing and then release it. And they thanked Stanley Kubrick by giving him that lens that was used in Barry Lyndon, that you can shoot a movie by candlelight because it is able to pick up that amount of light. That's not really true at all. But basically what happened is the moon landing fake people believed, this is true, that that saying that we didn't land on the moon maybe was too far, which is interesting and entertaining. So they changed it from, well, okay, we went to the moon. We're not crazy fake moon landing people. But we are saying, how could they have transmitted that to Earth? Because that's the crazy part. So they faked the filming was 2001, and we never got footage from the moon. And I'm like, yeah, guys. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Ryan Welch just says Disney Plus has Muppets, HBO Max has Sesame Street, Apple TV has Fraggle Rock, And Netflix has Dark Crystal. God forbid if the story about Attila reboot is on Quibi. God. Cheers to you, Ryan. And Zane Power says, "Now, Jim, the real truth is the moon is a hologram." I'm not going to disagree with that. Anyway, cheers to you. So, despite countless YouTube channels probably telling you that there is, in fact, a Snyder Cut, there is a cut somewhere. It's a work in progress cut, but it's a cut. Here's the thing. Apparently, there isn't one. It's not done. There was kind of an assembly edit, which is not a thing you'd ever want to watch unless you were assembling an edit, but it was not a complete cut of anything that is ever there. That has never happened. And they're starting to go, well, look, the Snyder Cut was more of an idea, man. It's not like a cut of a movie. It's like if we thought about if there was a cut of it. It was like his artistic vision was the cut. Which is really entertaining as soon as these pieces came out, that there's no Snyder Cut. But anyway, so he is going to assemble the footage, which apparently could have been a 4-hour movie in an assembly edit, which to me means it was not going to be a 4-hour movie. This sounds like it could be an even bigger disaster. I actually sort of liked where Justice League, the stuff Joss Whedon made and added to it. I thought that was a cooler direction. And I was a little kind of actually happy with that direction once some parts of that. So there's parts of me who's like, I don't know, like the original Justice League gave me a little bit of hope for the DCEU, even though it was clearly like a Frankenstein-y movie. But this is just such a ridiculous thing. But I love the fact that that they're having to change their mind on the Snyder Cut. It is equally hilarious. Anyway, all right. So Scoob 2. It's interesting because I really did think we'd get some update on how well Scoob did last weekend. We have not. That might be because they don't want to release the numbers. It might be because it didn't do well. I don't know. But I was kind of wondering, when would Scoob 2 even come out? And to be honest, I bet if it had normally come out, we'd get some movement on that. We've heard nothing about a sequel or anything going on with the cinematic universe, which I find very interesting. Probably not a great sign. I know they gave the rights to Scoob to Netflix and other territories. It seems like they're just trying to make as much as they can off this. I think any idea of this being a franchise, not because of how nobody liked it, but I think because they sort of want to not deal with that anymore. I think it's kind of dead, but we'll see when they release things. But I posted on Twitter this week, if it'll load correctly, about what the next Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe, and I was like, I would think a Wacky Races movie would be cool, and let George Miller direct it, since he's done animation, which he won his Oscar for, actually, for Happy Feet and Fury Road. It would be awesome. So here are, and some people didn't get that it was just supposed to be a reply, so if you didn't do it that way, then I'm sorry. Anyway, but here are people's. Austin said, Grape Ape, Fruit Island, Hong Kong Phooey, Year of the Dog, The Super Globetrotters, Snagglepuss, played by Jim Rash, and a SWAT Cats movie. Those are all great ideas. Let's see. Jared Weiss, who's like someone who's been watching my stuff for a long time, said, since they should put out that Yogi Bear Grape Ape starring Vin Diesel, that'd be awesome. Wally Roswood said Wacky Races would be the Avengers. They should do other movies first, maybe. That's a cool idea. Someone said Banana Splits, which already happened. Saturday Morning Block Party, which I don't think anyone remembers that podcast, but I've never gotten into Supernatural, but I know it's very long. People like it. I feel like maybe I should. But they said a Jabberjaw based on this music video from Cartoon Network Groovies. Nathaniel Fogel said Wacky Racers in the style of Speed Racer, which is actually cool. Matt Meyer said I'd enjoy a Jetsons meets the Flintstones, but instead of just going back in time, they create a rift in the universe, and all these characters are explained to be able to interact with one another. That's true. Marley from Frederator said I want a Hercules movie, but after Scoob, I don't trust it would get done that way. I'd like to see it. I want a grand adventure like How to Train Your Dragon, filled with wonder and awe. That's a good one. Cornbread said, I'm going to suggest a Space Ghost film focusing more on action, but still having the humor and style from coast to coast. Maybe like it's a superhero parody film. I don't think there's any superhero parodies for kids, but this was already suggested a lot. So fish please. Oh, by the way, this is, if I don't think anyone's posted it, but I'm going to post the Twitter thing if you guys want to look at it yourselves. Jordan Bouchard said Flintstones. I think they'll do that next since it's going to be their biggest property, I'd say. Caitlin, spelled with a C, said probably be the Flintstones or Jetsons. Probably wouldn't cross over to avoid similarities with the live-action movie, but that would be logical. Ben the Looney said SWAT Cats. Is that everyone? Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. Oh, a neo-noir Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. This is from Ryan the Tiger. Can you say the Maltese Birdman? Oh my god, there's so many of these. I didn't realize how many I got in here. Let me just read one more and then we'll move on. Sorry, someone should look at this. Oh, are these still the thing? These are still the thing. Damn. A lot of people in here. I didn't expect this kind of reaction. Yeah. Anyway, Johnny Quest. I see a lot of Johnny Quest, which I heard of Johnny Quest. I'm surprised they've never done a Johnny Quest. Anyway, Rough and Ready, Ryan Walsh. That's a good one. Anyway, so those were Everett. Thank you for contributing to that. If you did, follow me on Twitter or reply. I'm going to try to do that sometimes. Actually, I think that could be fun. But I didn't. I should have looked at the best ones and not just read off a bunch. But yeah, Johnny Quest would be cool. I know a few people said I think the Jetsons were next, and I had heard that, but I don't know what's going on. But it's interesting to think like Scoob was supposed to announce this whole thing, and we've heard literally nothing about it, how much it did. There aren't no really VOD numbers that can be released unless the company does release them. So unless they want us to know them, if they don't, then we don't learn them. True story. Anyway, what about Goober? They could make a Goober movie, I guess. Cheers to you, Austin. So, Tuca and Bertie, a show that I think nobody thought would come back at all after being canceled by Netflix after one season, has now been picked up by Adult Swim for a second season. This is wonderful. I haven't seen that much of this show, to be perfectly honest with you, but I think it is great because it was a really promising show. Everything I heard about it was cool, and I actually did like the style of it when I watched it, and I kind of just like stopped thinking. I hadn't thought about it in a while, so this at least makes me want to try to rewatch Tuca and Bertie. I think it's interesting for a couple of reasons. One is that you're going from Netflix to Adult Swim. I know Adult Swim has brought back so many canceled shows and brought them back to life. Look at what they did to Family Guy, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing at this point. Futurama, home movies. I mentioned Clerks earlier. I think they've aired like a ton of shows that like didn't really get a fair shake at their time and gave them a much higher profile, made them legendary. Especially like what they've done to anime, you know, what they did with Cowboy Bebop, all these things. So it's also interesting, and Cartoon Brew, decided to be sort of not cool about announcing this, bringing up that, you know, this has been picked up and Adult Swim isn't known for doing anything with female creators. It's good they're finally doing that. It was sort of like a thing where I was like, dude, that's like a second tweet. That's not your first tweet. Let's just have the moment where Tuca and Bertie has been approved. But Cartoon Brew is the way they are, and then if you say, hey, why do you do that? I go, oh, we're analytical and we like to cover stuff. I'm like, I get it, you suck, it's fine. Anyway, but I do agree to a certain degree that Adult Swim is not great at King of the Hill. King of the Hill was already big. I mean, it did help it. It's like it helped it maybe become legendary, but I don't think King of the Hill. I have heard people say that, but King of the Hill was that we could debate that one. Anyway. But that's a good point. But anyway, Adult Swim doesn't have a lot of female-centric shows. And they definitely need that. And I agree with that. That is true. Wasn't presented the best way, Cartoon Brew, but it is true. But I agree with that, and they do need more female-centric shows. I'm very curious if Awkwafina, Tiffany Haddish, and the cast will all come back, but I'm assuming they will. I know, no, Awkwafina wasn't on it. No, she guest starred. Did she? No, it was, shit. No, didn't she guest star? I heard that. Fuck, I'm screwing this up. See, I didn't really watch the show, so. But I know a couple people who worked on the show expressed how they knew if the show was doing what its numbers were, and Netflix would never tell them, and there was a lot of concern about that. So I don't know if Netflix ever really believed in the show, to be honest with you, but I think Adult Swim is a really good fit for that. Anyway, moving on. It's Amy Wong. Okay, I wanted to say Baby Cobra, but that's... Anyway. Tiffany Haddish was in Solar... Tiffany Haddish does a lot of voice stuff. Anyway. No, Amy Wong was actually the person who said... Amy Wong was the person who was saying, Netflix, like, could you promote Tuca and Bertie? And was asking a lot of questions. You know... I mean, it wasn't... Anyway, I'm sorry I got... No, Brittany Granville, you did the right thing. You didn't need to redact that. Anyway. Or they're getting their easily... You know what? Now I'm gonna look it up. Now I feel bad. We're gonna look. It's Ali Wong. Ali Wong. Is it Ali Wong? I'm gonna look. I don't even trust anything. Everyone's making fun of me. I feel stupid. Yes, it was Ali Wong. She was on Tuca and Bertie. Anyway, I mean, I think the unionized thing probably. But anyway, so The Simpsons. Let's just walk away from this. The Simpsons. Amy Wong, Futurama, whatever. No, it's Ali. Stop. I'm confused now. All right. The Simpsons are going to be 4/3 on Disney Plus on May 28th. It is finally happening. It is coming up soon. I'm surprised it took them this long to literally play the things I could have given them on DVD, but whatever, guys. But yes, it is finally happening. I do know a lot of people who didn't, I do know a lot of people who wouldn't watch The Simpsons on Disney Plus, so clearly they thought, oh, well, this will bring up the Simpsons numbers. It probably will. I haven't watched it on Disney Plus. I've been avoiding it because it's not in 4/3, so maybe now I will. I haven't actually shown any Simpsons really to Sophie, so I think maybe this will give me an opportunity to. I know a lot of people will reconsider watching it on Disney Plus, even maybe sign up. Not a ton of people, but it's an easy thing they could have done. I know they have other shows that aren't in the correct aspect ratio. I do not understand why we're still doing that, and I wish they would just stop it. Like, just keep everything in the correct aspect ratio. Don't mess up things. But it is happening on May 28th. So, the other big news, I do need to watch Tuca and Bertie. I don't know when I'll watch it, but anyway, I want to watch it at some point. So, the Tenet trailer came out. This was the big, Dex Denherter said, what should I draw? I just drew Kevin James. Oh, at me on Twitter with the Kevin James drawing. Let's draw, can you draw Scoob? Can you draw Scooby-Doo? Let's do that. Is that cool? Anyway, cheers to you. Oh, we killed a Red Bull almost. Cheers to you. Thank you for the super chat. All right. Anyway, yeah, this is done. No more sugar-free. That's it. So yes, the Tenet trailer premiered this week. The two things is the Fortnite thing, and that it said coming to theaters. Now, the Fortnite thing, I don't necessarily think that's the worst thing. Everyone is like laughing about it, but I was like, they need to get the word out, and the kids are in the Fortnite, so, you know, it was interesting they played it on the hour every hour, but I think it was like, they probably wanted this to premiere during like the NBA Finals or something like that, and then they went, oh, I can't, there's no NBA Finals, so what is the thing a lot of people are at? And they went Fortnite and made a deal. So in a way, it's sort of, that's sort of what they did with it. I don't think it was like necessarily anything other than that. They were just like, look, we don't have any other way to get people to care about this movie, and so we know that they will under that. So they just wanted, you know. But Tenet, it was a fine trailer. I don't think I'm necessarily like blown away by the concept of like sort of being in reverse, and that I definitely think the end shot and the beginning shot are the same thing kind of thing. I mean, I'm sure he'll do well with it. It sounds like a very Christopher Nolan type movie. People are already saying Robert Pattinson looks like he's supposed to be Christopher Nolan because he always sort of has that character. But I just, you know, I do find it interesting the coming to theaters thing, because I think the obvious thing, and everyone's talking about it more, that it's going to take Wonder Woman's release date, and Wonder Woman's going to go to December. I do think that it's going to be hard. I don't know if I really want to go to a movie theater right now. I don't know if a lot of people do. And I think like this whole like thing that we're going to bring back movies, I'm like, you know what? This is like less about the movie and more about like not getting a virus and not coming home and getting everyone in your family sick or everyone you live with sick because you had to see fucking Tenet. So I kind of, a lot of people are saying like 2020 is a wash. Like we should just move away from 2020. Will watch the Tenet trailer via Fortnite. Will, please tell us what that was like. I'm curious what it was like. Was it better in Fortnite? What if the best way to watch Christopher Nolan movies is in Fortnite and he never knew it? Maybe he's like, screw these fucking movie theaters. Bring on the Fortnite. Who's going to do it in Animal Crossing? Anyway. Cheers to you, Will. And this is the sugar Red Bull, I guess. But yeah, I do think we're going to see, since they said coming to theaters kind of means like Nolan's not going to let them do it on demand. But I don't know, I'm not as excited as a lot of people are. But I think it looks... I like Dunkirk, and I like his kind of solo-y movies. Interstellar was sort of a wash, but I've liked Dunkirk. I like certain names. I'm not as crazy about him, obviously, because I call him overrated last week. But Zane Powers says, "Buy Spy could have saved theaters. It could have. They never gave it a chance." Cheers to you, Zane Powers. But yeah, it's sort of an interesting. It's sort of an interesting thing. I'm really curious how this is all going to play out over the time of movies and everything like that. We'll see how it's going to go. But it is interesting. We have all these hopes on Tenet, but I think everyone thought they were going to push it back, and they haven't. And I'm surprised they didn't do that with the new trailer. They just kept it open. Seems like there's some behind-the-scenes drama, I would assume. Anyway, cheers to Ryan. Said Christopher Nolan Baker presents Inception Party Podcast. That's funny. That's funny. All right. Anyway, sorry. Okay, so moving on. Blumhouse is planning a movie shoot, actually. They're one of the few, and they're going to try to shoot it on the Universal lot. They have told us literally nothing about this. Apparently, a lot of people think it's going to be a murder thing on this movie studio, which actually sounds really cool. Literally, no one knows. I mean, it's a movie studio lot, so they could probably make it look like anything. It's not going to cost a lot, but it's sort of a test run, apparently, for future movie releases or movie shoots, because they want to sort of try to establish that. Obviously, they can't do that at this time. But they're using this as kind of a test case, basically, and using Blumhouse sounds like a good test case because they're good at shooting quick, and so forth. But they're hoping, basically, like Universal is saying, like, let's let Blumhouse go first and shoot something, and it's an idea they cooked up. So it sounds interesting. This, and I mentioned, you probably heard me maybe talk about this during Saber's live stream, but I'm going to talk about it again here anyway. Cool. All right. So apparently, Empire Strikes Back had a different ending. Not dramatically different. So when I noticed the headline from Screen Crush when they brought this up, makes it sound like, holy shit, bro, is Darth Vader not Luke's father or something? No, it's nothing that crazy. So apparently the original ending of it, if you saw it in the first couple weeks of theaters, which I didn't exist then, and I'm pretty sure most of my audience didn't either, apparently if you saw it then, you didn't see the cutaways of the medicine ship and space and all that stuff. Those were all insert shots by special effects people, not actually by Irving Kershner, which is interesting. And he put that in a couple weeks after release. They got some confirmation on that. And yeah, I don't think, whoa, Niji Kichu coming out of everywhere. Hold on. Okay. Fun fact, a studio sent someone to Katharine Hepburn's trailer to replace her pants with a dress since they hated her wearing it. She stormed out of the trailer with only her underwear, asking around who stole her pants. They returned it. Katharine Hepburn, I'm going to tell you this right now. Niji Kichu, I love Niji Kichu because you never know when Niji Kichu is going to show up. Always brings up the show. So thank you. I love Katharine Hepburn because Katharine Hepburn gave no fucks. Someone make that meme because Katharine Hepburn gave no fucks. That is true. I mean, didn't make 100% great movies. Won for Best Actress Oscars. Does she have more than Meryl? right? I think she was the most. Anyway, Katharine Hepburn is awesome. Cheers to you, Niji, for bringing up Katharine Hepburn. She's fucking awesome. Cheers to you. But yeah, that was cool. Thank you, Niji Kichu. And thank you. That was very generous of you as well. But man, all the big topics. I really should have. Anyway, and the YouTube streaming thing's being a little buggy tonight. A little buggy, at least. Anyway, but it is interesting that happened. I'd heard that also. Like, so if you saw 1977 Star Wars, it didn't say Episode 4. They put that in the re-release. I've heard before Empire Strikes Back, they put new changes in there. So every time he'd always been changing it. And he even changed stuff from like Phantom Menace in the original theatrical release. It was a puppet Yoda, and they completely changed it by the VHS DVD release. So Lucas had always done things like that. But it's interesting that was going on with Empire during its initial release. It's kind of crazy. Alright, so the We Bare Bears trailer came out this week. The We Bare Bears movie trailer came out this week. Is going to be on demand on June 8th, which is a Monday, which is like not a good day, but they chose to do it anyway. Good for them. It looks actually really fun. I like We Bare Bears. I like watching it with Sophie, so this might be a movie we watch together. I don't think it'll make the Monday cut because I'll want to watch it earlier, or Friday cut. Because of that. But I'm excited for this. I know I hate when they do this because it's just the regular show movie is like, I know they're gonna make me fucking pay for this shit early, and then they're just gonna play it on Cartoon Network around Thanksgiving or something like that. But I get why they're doing it, because VOD kid stuff is booming right now, and it's like, hey guys, I'm fine with that as long as you get more people into We Bare Bears. The trailer was fun. The best part was where that guy was like talking about how terrible they are, and he goes, "They stack," and that was a good moment. Anyway, Sparkly says George Lucas, history's greatest monster. A bit much, but cheers to you. The poster for you know what? I like the poster. I wasn't planning this. Can we just let's put the poster on. Is everyone cool with me fucking around with OBS for a second? Let's do this. Hold on. I'm gonna hold on. Can I do this? Let's just look at the poster. Maybe I'm already regretting this right now. But I know some things. I know some things about the computers. Alright, hold on. Where oh, I didn't even do a good job of whatever. Let's just look at because I hyped it up. I didn't even do a good job of collecting the thing because I just took a screenshot of a picture. Anyway, I don't know why I'm doing this. I regret it. Anyway, that's the We Bare Bears poster. I like it. I know, I'm sorry, I cut off the size there. I like it. And I like the baby bears I cut out the baby bears. You know what, let's just get this out of here. This is embarrassing. I don't want to do this anymore. I mean, I want to do the stream. I don't want to. Anyway, the baby bears were being chased by a train. I messed that up. That was, oh, Jim, we do love bears in Canada. That's true. Thank you, Austin, for the super chat. Cheers to you. But I should have gotten the real poster instead of that shitty version of it I did there. So sorry about that. I really didn't even prepare that. Was it obvious? I think so. Anyway, it looks cool. Yeah, I'm definitely going to see it and review it and all that stuff. But I do like We Bare Bears, so I think it'll be cool. And I think it'll be cool for parents to watch it with their kids, but Monday's not a good release date, guys. Post it on that Friday. It would be better, I think. Or release it for free, but it's sort of like, you know, whatever. But I'm excited. We Bare Bears is one of those shows that's like consistent in its quality, which is good. Alright, so they're going to, well, do these two Edgar Wright stories. So 2 Edgar Wright stories that happened this week, not enough people are talking about. His next film, Last Night in Soho, which was supposed to come out this fall, has been pushed to 2021 without a release date. So, great. That's great. Wonderful. Crap. After that, another Edgar Wright news, his kind of whole crew, Quentin Tarantino mentioned the Edgar crew, this is that crew, Edgar Wright, Nira Park, Joe Cornish, and Rachel Pryor. Her I know less about. formed a production company called Complete Fiction. The big thing that they're doing one thing with Netflix called Lockwood & Co., a supernatural action-adventure detective series based on the best-selling novels by Jonathan Strode. The series will be helmed and executive produced by Cornish, which is good. Joe Cornish should get more work. I love Joe Cornish. In conjunction with Netflix, the company has also optioned a sci-fi horror trilogy, The Murders of Molly Southbourne from Arthur C. Clarke, and a historical thing called The City of Brass. So it sounds like Edgar Wright's doing things, even though his movie got pushed. So, Postponing the Oscars. This was a thing. It was in Variety. It got a lot of shit for it, to be honest with you. But I don't think that was necessarily a bad thing, because let's be honest here, they're probably going to have to push it back, unless they're going to just let all streaming movies get nominated for Oscars, which, yeah, not happening. So most likely it's going to get pushed. There's been talk of maybe just skipping a year, which I think is, at this point, we should just, 2020 didn't work. Let's just do 2021, because they're not going to release like a ton of Oscar movies at the end of the year. And if you looked at the release calendar, they're sort of acting like the Oscars are still going to happen. If the Oscars don't happen, the bigger issue is a lot of the trades, and I'm talking about Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Deadline, things of that nature, will have financial problems that we have never seen before, because they make a lot of their money throughout the entire year with Oscar ads. This is very true. So without the Oscars, there's no Oscar ads. So things are pretty fucked if that happens. That's why a lot of these people were saying this is not true. They're not going to postpone it. Also, the Academy wanted to open their big movie museum that has been postponed forever, and it is finally going to open. It's not going to open, I can tell you that right now. And it's not going to go over as well as they wanted it to. So we'll see. I mean, unless they get a vaccine like next month, I don't think the Oscars would happen. But like when I went through the release date changes and kind of just went, oh hey, Ranson Film is here. And whoa, hold on, let me finish. What? Oh my god. Okay, those are customized cock rings. I need to read that fully. But I don't think when I was talking about. Oh my god, you really threw me off. I told him he does this, and he still does it. But I love that he does it. But it's anyway. If you look at the release calendar, they were acting like the Oscars were going to happen, and I questioned that quite a bit on this show, and I'm going to continue to question it. But it seems like the Oscars are sort of planting flags and being like, because apparently the guy who wrote the article is very much, and I'm going quickly, is very much an Oscar plant and very much loves the Oscars and things like that. But he, sorry, I just want to finish this. And then, but I think they're trying to say, like, this is a real possibility. Move your movies, because we can't have 20 million Oscar movies come out between October and December, which, by the way, is what they usually do anyway. So we'll see what happens with the Oscars, but it looks like they're at least planting the idea in people's brains. And it seems like a lot of Hollywood is like, hey, let's get prepared for the fact that, like, movies aren't going to be a thing this year. So it's between Tenet and this are some interesting things going on. All right, Saber Sparks. Movie fun fact. Getting in on Niji Kichu's thing here. Okay. Movie fun fact. I learned recently when Lord of the Rings was wrapped up, Peter Jackson wanted to give a keepsake to the 9 original members of the Fellowship. So Peter had them made matching custom-sized Sauron cock rings. I have a lot of questions. One, how did he know how to make them custom-sized cock rings? Was it based on assumption? Or do you have that? You know? Like, did he have that? Who was the biggest? Elijah Wood? I think no one wanted me to go this way, but we're here. I think out of all of them, who would have the biggest cock ring? It would be Elijah. I would say Elijah. You know what? I'm going to say Sean Bean. Probably they couldn't even, they're like, there's not enough metal in this world for that. Anyway, does anyone remember the MTV Movie Awards thing with Jack Black and he made a cock ring out of the ring? That's a funny one. Someone look that up. That's funny. Anyway, Saber, you should watch that. Anyway, everyone in the chat, right? Everyone, Hugo Weaving? Who Hugo Weaving's not part of the Fellowship, but I bet he's got a big cock ring. Anyway, if you wear it, you turn it. Everyone in the chat, say who you think would have the biggest cock ring in the Fellowship. Andy Serkis isn't in the Fellowship, so he doesn't count. Right? I think the 9 he means... Is that 9? There's like 4 hobbits, and then there's Vigo, and there's Legolas, dwarfy guy, Sean Bean, Gandalf. There you go. There you go. Saber, you corrupted our nice Christian fun time podcast. I want to change the name of the stream to that. Christopher Lee is... Okay, put people who are in the Fellowship, guys. Jesus. All right. All right, so there was the Scott Pilgrim Academy watch party. I need some water after that one. Which was funny because they never nominated Scott Pilgrim for anything. It was nice of Edgar Wright to do that, but seriously, Oscars, I've noticed they do that a lot. They do events for movies that they've not acknowledged, but I think they're trying to say, we honor all movies afterwards because we know there's an audience for them. So that's basically what they do. Cheers to everyone. I need some water. So you probably forgot that Apple Plus was a thing, and it is, and someone watches it somewhere maybe. One thing is there seems to be, and this is something people have been saying for a while, that they need to buy older movies because they have no real library. They just have... thank you very much for that, Sarah. Cheers to you. They have no real... they have no real catalog. They just make original stuff. Apparently they are looking to buy. There was no specifications in this article, which I kind of feel like we knew before, but it's interesting that there's still people talking about that. I know they were thinking about buying MGM previously. They did, however, buy one movie, which was Tom Hanks's Greyhound, which they bought for $70 million, which cost is apparently worth 2 Snyder Cuts, and got like maybe a quarter of the press. So that shows you what's really going on in the streaming world. But they did buy that from Sony. That's just going to go to Apple Plus. It's a big get for them because they have virtually nothing. I mean, seriously. Legally Blonde 3, which previously had a date in the calendar. If you look at most release date calendars, Legally Blonde, before this happened, 3 still had a release date in the summer, which I thought was weird because there was no trailer. Apparently it never shot, so there was no trailer, but they're completely redoing the script with the script from Mindy Kaling and Dan Gore. It has a completely new version. Oh, wait, Buster has a fur. Oh, you have a fur thing in there. See, I was petting him and I found... Oh, I want to get it. Okay, you don't want to watch me clean his fur. I'll do that later. Poor Buster, man. Why are you doing that? Okay, is that... No, that's why you're trying to hang out. It's bothering you, huh? Okay. Well, we'll do this later. Oh, that's... Yeah, I can't do that. It's... Oh, hold on. His fur gets tangled. You okay? No, he's happy that I was doing it. But anyway, sorry. This is like real life Jim, is that I don't like when his fur gets tangled. But yes, so they are working on a completely new version. This is not like any other version of Legally Blonde. It is a complete rewrite. But they wanted these new writers, and Mindy Kaling and this writer did something else. Oh, who's this Paddle Pencil? Happy Saturday night. Cheers to a good virtual MomoCon and many Snyder Cuts for everyone. Cheers to you. Cheers to you. Is that your first super chat? It might be, but happy Saturday night to you too. Thank you very much. Cheers to you. Anyway, so Scream 5? Let's call it that. So Scream 5, we haven't heard much. I know Neve Campbell's being circled. I've heard nothing of Courtney. Did she die? I don't remember. In one of the Screams, who can remember? But probably someone who remembers 3 and 4. I've heard people go to bat for 3 recently. I kind of want to rewatch 3. You know, it has a Jay and Silent Bob cameo, so... But, David Arquette apparently is going to be back as Dewey, as well as this was sort of buried in it that Kevin Williamson is executive producing. I don't love Kevin Williamson outside of the Scream franchise, but it seems hard to believe to me that neither... I mean, Wes Craven can't because he's like dead and stuff, but Kevin Williamson wrote all of them. So he should be involved more than an executive producer in my mind. I don't know. But whatever. It's just, I don't know. I'm curious what this is even going to be, to be honest with you. Like, I have no clue what this is even going to be. It is weird. But we'll see. All right, moving on. So there was a bunch of HBO Max stuff that debuted this week, because they're trying to build kind of momentum for, obviously, the streaming service, which comes out next week. Which, by the way, I'm not even sure if I have for free or not. I know I'm AT&T and I have HBO, and apparently I might get it for free. I need to figure that out, and I actually wanted to clear that up. If I figure out how you get HBO Max for free, because I think a lot of us get it for free, which is a whole other thing with HBO Max, which a lot of people aren't talking about, that like a lot of people who have AT&T are just going to get it. And so like the subscriber number is actually going to be higher, but do they have less to lose? Are they more like an Amazon Prime because they're not just a streaming service, they're part of like, hey, you sign up for AT&T, you get HBO Max for free. Is it like kind of a bigger corporate picture to just have it rather than just an HBO Max entity unto itself, much like Amazon Prime? So anyway, I'm going to talk about that more next week. But they premiered a lot of Looney Tunes stuff. One, a kind of teaser, I would say, a tunnel vision with Roadrunner and Coyote. I liked it. It was too quick. I would say it's definitely part of a cartoon, but they played a actual show of it today. They live streamed it on Facebook. Ryan let me know. Thank you, Ryan. Ryan helps out a lot with this show, and he deserves a lot of credit, and I don't want to embarrass him, but he's a great guy. Anyway, but I will say... But the Looney Tunes stuff I saw, I didn't really get to watch it because there's a lot going on, and today was busy. But it looked cool. It does seem like they have little cartoons between the longer shorts, so I think that's what the Bugs Bunny Coyote, a Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner thing was. But I think it all showed a lot of promise. But the thing say the one with the one I really got to watch was the one with Sylvester and Tweety, where he actually thinks he kills Tweety and doesn't, and then Tweety pretends to be a ghost, and that was really funny. I'm liking what I'm seeing. It's probably the thing I'm most excited for HBO Max, to be honest with you. Then the other thing was the Not So Late Show with Elmo. So here's the thing about the Not So Late Show with Elmo. I thought, hey, Sylvie's going to watch that, and we're going to watch it together, and then I'm going to talk about it on the show and stuff. And then we started watching it at like a couple minutes in. She was like, too much talking. I'm bored. So I didn't watch more than that. I was excited for it, to be honest with you. I thought she'd want to watch it. Kids don't want to watch talk shows. So I'm curious if that's going to go over well. I don't know, but she wasn't into it. True story. All right. So Timothy Oliphant was revealed to be in... I think last week we said he was in The Mandalorian, or maybe I didn't, or disregarded it. I forget what I said. I was probably not cool about it. But he is in The Mandalorian. Apparently, they have confirmed he's playing Cobb Vanth, who wears Boba's armor, which some Jawas find near the Sarlacc pit, which makes us think that maybe the Boba stuff in The Mandalorian are, flashbacks, and then Timothy Oliphant plays him. But a couple of people brought up that Pedro Pascal wasn't exactly on set for The Mandalorian ever. He was like on set for like 2 days because he was always... I like the Elmo show, Ryan. To be quite honest, there's just Sophie didn't. Sorry, target audience wasn't into it. But I appreciate what I saw. But apparently he's playing Cobb Vanth, who does play Vareth Vaneth, whatever, who does wear the Boba Fett armor. It might be that Timothy Oliphant just does the voice, but it sounds like it's like a thing he's in one episode or something like that, but it sounds like a cool role. So, yeah, I'll do this and then I'll do the Pixar thing. The Space Force trailer came out this week. It looks cool. It looked to me like sort of an HBO, like a, what's the Pied Piper show with the hacker guys? What was that with the show? Mike Judge, whatever, you know what I'm saying. It looks sort of like that. It didn't look hilarious, but I sort of wanted to watch it because of Steve Carell. I was sort of into it. I don't love all the Space Force jokes. I like the Space Force jokes in Reno 911, the Quibi episodes, but I wasn't so into the Space Force thing. I'm like, haha. I also don't like making fun of space stuff because I think it's like something we need to take more seriously, but whatever. Silicon Valley. Sorry, guys. Yeah, everyone's like, Jim, you're stupid. So, where are we? Okay, so 2 different Pixar directors announced live-action things for other studios. One is Josh Cooley, who this is his second project for another studio, which very much makes me think he is not going to stay at Pixar anymore, which is not great since he just won an Oscar for them and made them $1 billion. He is going to be doing a thing called Malamander which is kind of a fantasy live action thing, which I should have written down. But and then Andrew Stanton is going to be doing a thing called Chairman Spaceman. It's based on a pitch or he's in talks. I'm sorry, he's in talks, but it sounds like he's going to do it. It's called Chairman Spaceman for Searchlight, which is no longer Fox Searchlight, which I guess is part of Disney, so he's not... Why did everyone act like... That annoys me. I'm not even speaking as good. So he's just in Disney. I don't know why everyone was... Anyway. That wasn't... So many people I read were like, why are these Pixar directors going to other studios? I was like, he's not. He's going like down the hall. Whatever. It is interesting that Andrew Stanton, his career is... I was thinking about him because Sophie was watching WALL-E and loves the Finding Nemo, Finding Dory movies currently. I will say, I think Andrew Stanton sort of got a lost career of the Pixar brain trust. You hear so little talked about him anymore. He did do a Stranger Things episode, I think in season 2 or 3, I forget which one. But he's been kind of quiet on the live action front. It's cool that he's coming back. I think he needs to do something interesting and creative, and he really hasn't gotten to do that in a while, because Finding Dory, yeesh. Niji Kichu said, fun fact, there's a version of Iron Man 3 that's only in China. I knew about this. It's 5 minutes longer and it has Tony Stark going to China to get his arc reactor removed. Has anyone seen... Are those on YouTube? If anyone could find that and put it in the chat, I would appreciate it. That would be interesting. I should just review... That would be a cool segment, actually. Maybe I'll do that if we can find it on YouTube. I don't speak, like, Chinese, so I don't... Maybe I wouldn't... Is it in English? I don't know. Anyway, thank you. That's it. I forgot about that. I remember... Yeah, they did that because there's a reason they did that. I'll drink this after. But cheers to you, Niji Kichu. Another awesome fun fact. Thank you. Why they did that is China will only let a certain amount of American movies in a year, but if you make them within China or with a certain percentage of, I think, within the country, they let it not count as an American film, and so that is why they did that. So a studio can only release a certain amount of films in China every year, and so if they have a film that doesn't count for that and gets in, that's better for them. Much like how DreamWorks has a studio in China, so Abominable didn't count for that. That's another one. But that's interesting. I need to look into that because I've known about that since its release, but I've never like done anything, like seen it or anything. Anyway. But yeah, it's interesting. Andrew Stanton is doing something like that. It's also interesting Josh Cooley's moving on so quickly. It does make me wonder because there does seem to be a lot of Pixar people not staying at Pixar, regardless if Stanton's going to other things. It seems like when John Lasseter left, because Lee Ulrich is also just retired, a lot of people didn't want to stick around. And I'm curious what's going on there. I'm not saying that it was a conspiracy or something. I'm just saying, like, what happened? Because there's a lot of people who are jumping, and Pixar was not known for that previously. And I think, whatever's happening in the oral history book that we'll read later, it's going to be interesting. Anyway, Niji Kuju, I will try to check that out. That's an interesting one. There's going to be a Loud House social distancing special. It seems interesting. I don't know Loud House as well as most people, but it seemed cool, and a lot of kid shows are doing that, and cheers to them. There's a trailer for a documentary about the cult of showgirls. Says you don't know Naomi. It actually seemed kind of cool. I never know about these documentaries when you have them on demand and stuff. I always watch them later when like some channel gets it on their on demand or a streaming service gets it. But it did seem cool. I've actually not seen Showgirls. I should do that. Maybe that should be a review I do at some point. This is a story, and there's kind of a bunch of stories about this, but Nicholas Hoult has been replaced by Issa Morales in Mission Impossible 7. It didn't say he was going to be involved in Mission Impossible 8. A lot of this said a lot of this is because the Loud House thing aired today. I didn't know that. Okay, you probably told me that, Ryan, and I forgot. I'm sorry. A lot of this, and a lot of people are saying, a lot of talent is not going to go into production until they know COVID is settled further, and they know that testing, because testing isn't 100%, it's like 40% apparently effective, that they know they're not going to get sick themselves, and a lot of talent who are very wealthy are probably not going to want to do productions. That's what people think the Ruby Rose thing was as well. They don't know, but it is interesting that Nicholas Hoult thing changed for an actor who's about twice his age. So it seems like they've actually probably changed the script as well for Mission Impossible 7. Oh, Zane Powers. Oh, I'm sorry, Zane Powers. Anyway, cheers to you. They're leaving to maintain the moon holiday. I thought, you know what's funny? I just glanced at it and then I really read it. And anyway, thank you for being here, Zane Powers. Cheers to you. In other interesting Lasseter news, I guess, is Alan Mencken is going to make a score for a Skydance animation film. It's called Spellbound, which John Lasseter is in charge of. I'm a little surprised by that, but it is Lasseter, when he ran Disney, was able to get really interesting people. I'm surprised he is still able to do that, and that Alan Mencken would be involved, but he is. And seemed to get announced without the mention of John Lasseter, as well as when Andrew Stanton's press things came out, they chose not to mention John Carter. So, you know, like his live action movie. I think it's his only one, other than the Fred Willard parts in Wall-E, which I definitely watched recently. All right, Adam Goodman and Michael Bay are going to produce a film called Songbird. It's kind of an interesting one. I wanted to bring it up. It says. It takes place 2 years in the future. The pandemic has not gone away. Lockdowns have been rolled back and reinstated, and it becomes even more serious as the virus continues to mutate. I don't believe there's supernatural elements involved, but there is a governmental conspiracy and paranoia, and it impacts the cast of characters who remain in lockdown. So that sounds great, and I totally want to see that, and it won't be depressing. Thanks a lot, fucking Michael Bay. What a fucking jerk. All right. The first look at Cuphead came out. It looks really cool. I'm excited for that. That's all I really have to say. Apparently, there are going to be 11, I believe. However many there are, they're only going to be like 10-minute episodes. So 11-minute episodes. So it sounds like it'll be easy to watch through all of them. But I'm excited for it. It looks cool. It's also by King Features, who are working with Genndy Tartakovsky on the Popeye movie. It was announced today, or not this week, I guess, that S.J. Clarkson, who is an indie director who hasn't really done too much, but did do some Jessica Jones episodes and was almost going to do Star Trek 4, but didn't because that fell apart, obviously, is going to be working on a Madam Webb movie. Apparently, it is not going to star someone who is super old like Madam Webb is. They're thinking of people like Amy Adams, not Amy Adams. She's not been approached. That is the template for casting or whatever, because the Sony, Marvel, whatever universe likes to use all these characters, despite the fact that who would want to see a Madam Webb movie? But apparently, they are moving forward with S.J. Clarkson. There was also a first look at the Phineas and Ferb movie, which is called Phineas and Ferb the Movie: Candace Against the Universe, which still says summer 2020, and I'm assuming because it's animation it will happen. There's been less press about that one, which I think is unfortunate. Jamie Lee Curtis is going to be directing a horror movie, which makes sense. It's for Blumhouse. It's called Mother Nature, and it's about climate change. It's with her production company Comet. I'm assuming this is because of her relationship with them, because of Halloween, and I'm kind of curious what she would do. She, comes from a long lineage of Hollywood. She's married to Christopher Guest, which everyone seems to forget. I actually have always thought that she has a lot more to offer than she's ever been given credit for, and I think Jamie Lee Curtis is like my awesome cool people list, and she gives me activity and makes me regular, so I'm not gonna fuck with her. I like Jamie Lee Curtis, and I'll see it because I think she's cool. So there was a Fraggle Rock stream from the Museum of Moving Image. Ryan said it was really cool. Ryan, if you would like to talk and praise it in the stream, and if there are any other links for it later, I will try to retweet those as well. I did not get to check it out because it was a little busy today, as you know. So the CBS All Access is apparently really considering relaunching as a major streamer, particularly because of all their animated content that they have through Viacom, which is, Nickelodeon. Particularly SpongeBob, which is pretty big. SpongeBob, which is currently sort of on Amazon Prime and other streaming services, is not on CBS All Access, and if they did relaunch and made a real Viacom streaming service, they would be someone you couldn't fuck with. And I think they've started to realize that, so they are considering a major relaunch and having more animated content in there. So take note of that. It seems not much news on anything going on there. Oh, okay. We're getting towards the end here, and then I'll take a little break. There's apparently a Little Mermaid sequel series. Now, before you go, what? With Disney? No, it's not, because the story's public domain-y and stuff. But it is about the Little Mermaid sequel series. It's called All Washed Up. It's on Peacock, not with Disney. And is going to be about a woman who, after she gave up her fins for her legs, is like 30 years later and isn't really liking it and stuff like that. Sounds like a cool concept. Sounds like something Disney would never do, but it's a cool concept. Back to the Future 2 had some censorship issues when they censored Ooh La La in Back to the Future 2, which, did they do it in Back to the Future? It wasn't in Back to the Future 1, right? Or is it there? No, it's not in Back to the Future. It's only in 2. Yeah, sorry. I mean, it's in the scenes from Back to the Future 1, but it's in Back to the Future 2. So they apparently censored it. I don't know how you'd censor it. Is it censored in every shot it was in? I didn't fully look into this, but apparently it has been restored because they realized Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale get really upset if anything happens in Back to the Future, if you hadn't noticed. So it was changed, but it is interesting Netflix did this. Disney, it seems like, gets caught right away. I'm not surprised people caught in Back to the Future because people love Back to the Future, as do I. It's great. I've been watching a little bit, but I think it's like super unnecessary, but I don't know why, because it's not like that. I found that to be really stupid. I was just like, why would you mess with Back to the Future 2? Like, why mess with that one? Like, I don't understand like what the positive was. You know, I get like something that's offensive or something like that. I just find that to be obnoxious, and I'm glad that Netflix changed it fairly quickly. I'll give them credit for going like, you know, we messed up and we'll change it back. But it was just like, is anyone offended by Ooh La La? I mean, except for Michael J. Fox when he thought he had the sports almanac. But you know what I mean. Yeah. All right. So the Willoughbys apparently got 37.6 million views since it was premiered on Netflix, which is good, not amazing. I don't think it caused the biggest discussion out of it, to be honest. I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm a little surprised we didn't hear more from it. But anyway. But that's the number they had. Sex Life. This is clearly towards the end because I'm just telling you Soderbergh news. Steven Soderbergh has written apparently 3 scripts, and one of them will be a Sex Lies and Videotape sequel. He's been talking about this forever. You should check out Sex Lies and Videotape. It won the Palme d'Or over Do the Right Thing, which I don't agree with, but it's still a good movie. And I do like Steven Soderbergh. I like that he's being pretty proactive and productive, as he always is. A lot of people in Hollywood are saying it'll probably just get made because everyone knows if you give him a small budget, he'll make a movie, which has probably been a success recently, even though I know his movies don't get watched a whole lot currently. A Sex Lies and Videotape sequel would actually be interesting considering how much has changed since the original to now, particularly with pornography and sexuality and the internet. So I'm curious what he'd do with that. And he's good at saying things about gender roles and sexuality. So I think that could be cool. See Sex Lies and Videotape if you never have. I'm curious how you all would view it since that was a long time ago. Let's just say that. In Fraggle Turns, you're a great silly creature. Thank you, Ryan. Cheers to you. You're a great silly creature too. I know a lot of people, it's kind of hard to keep track of all the obituaries, but I watched Leave It to Beaver as a kid. I know anytime I'd mention this guy, everyone knew who I was talking about, and that is the guy who played Eddie Haskell. Ken Osmond died this past week. He was a police officer as well, which is funny if you know about Eddie Haskell. Always kind of like buttering up the mom and lying behind his back, but whatever. But he played a role that is important in pop culture, and if you ask any, like, I guess, baby boomer, they would know who you're talking about. And I think he did a good enough performance regardless of what you think of that show or what you think of him politically. I think what he did in that performance is something that's lived on for years and years and years. And he did a fucking great job. And it's sad to lose someone like that. All right, so here's what's going to happen. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to come back. And then it's the Reno 911 Quibi review. Then I will talk about the almost made Youngblood cartoon. And yeah, I think that's it. What's Leave It to Beaver? Does anyone really know Leave It to Beaver anymore? I don't think it holds as much weight as it once did, probably. Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Anyway, I will be right back, and then we will continue with the 2 segments and then all the other stuff. And also, thank you all for being here. I'm curious. I'll ask this when I get back, but I am curious how many people watch both the streams and are here now. But lightning whiz, Jim. All right, I will be right back, and I will see you shortly. Cool. Do you want to get out of here? Hello. Hey, just so I'm curious. Quick, Jim's gone. Let's talk about video games. What does Jim have a picture of a door framed? I love these conversations. Before I get to it, I'm just curious who in the chat came out for both the... Oh, man, my arm. That was stupid. Who came out to both streams and is here now? I'm just curious how many people, or who came out to any stream, or is this the only thing you watched today, or did you not watch the 2 streams? I'd be really curious about that. That would be interesting. That was too quick. I'm sorry, Nathaniel Flint. I've never been criticized for that one. But yeah, true or false, every Phineas and Ferb could at least one song. Is that true? I think that was true. You know what my favorite was the rap song Doofenshmirtz did. I need to watch. God, that was a good, where he's like I got rabbits on my fingers. Is that it? Yeah, he had good fucking flow. I don't care. I know Paleo did. Paleo, that doesn't count. Jim collecting consumer data. Wash your hands. You were on 3 streams. Yeah, I was. Definitely having a beer after this. Having a beer, putting on Extraction. That's how I do. You know, I wanted to share this. So after I do the show, I kind of put in the time code stuff in the description and like go over, the show and all that stuff. And I usually have something on in the background. And I thought, I've heard when I talked about how Netflix shows get watched a lot. Oh, Squirrels in My Pants. Was it Squirrels in My Pants? Anyway. No, he's got something on his fingers. I got something on my finger. Was it fingers? Anyway. Yeah, I heard about how these Netflix action movies got like huge viewerships, and I was like curious to see them. And I heard about Spencer Confidential and her Winston Duke's in it, and I like Mark Maron, and I thought, okay, I'm going to watch this. So I put it on, and it was literally in the background, and I was barely paying attention to it. And I'm going to be honest with you, it did not hold up to even that, because I shut it off after a while because I got sick of it. So, that is my review of Spencer Confidential. Could not hold up to me going on my computer, listening to something else while I did time codes. Even then, I didn't like it. So, anyway. I'm going to try to watch I think I need to watch Solar Opposites as like a background show. I don't know. Anyway, is it records on my fingers? He had records on his fingers. So there are records on the fingers. Okay. Anyway, let me drink some water. Society is a platypus. Nathaniel Foga, that's funny. All right. So, This is the Reno 911 segment. Quibi doesn't have a lot of great shows. I'm going to be honest about that. I have only done a review of The Golden Arm. I want to do this review of Reno 911, and I would like to, in the future, at least finish Where the Streetlights Have No Name, or Where the Streets Have whatever that is. I would like to review that because I'm interested in the fact that it was a movie first, then developed into a TV show, and then made into a Quibi. It's such a weird arc. I'm just curious what that show is, and I knew that was kind of one of their considered a crossover show. It wasn't, and I might review that just for the sake of it in a later show. I haven't watched all of it, but the show that I think is the most promising out of all of them as an entire show. And I know people often say Run This Town, which was good, but to be honest, you can actually just listen to it without watching it while you cook, which is what I did, and it held up. It's not the greatest. But what is the greatest is the Reno 911 Quibi episodes, which are genuinely great. I was surprised how good they were. And they actually use the technology better than I've seen in any show. Any Quibi show I've seen thus far. They have a lot of cool guest stars. They're all consistently funny. They do some cool stuff with the money. It is probably what will be known as the best that Quibi had to offer. Now, my relationship with Reno 911 is I've always found it to be consistently funny. I've never felt like it was never not funny. I've always thought it was a funny show. I don't understand when people say it's not a funny show. I don't like, or like it fell off at the end or something like that. Like every episode I genuinely enjoyed. And the amount of work and kind of like improvisation they put into it, you can tell they really went all out there with that show. I don't know. I've always found it to be really great with Reno 911. So I this kind of for me holds up to the regular standard of Reno 911. I would say the one thing that really works about it, it's 12 Quibis, whatever. So it's like, I guess like an hour of content, and they're all pretty solid, to be honest with you. They're really good at like keeping their bits within a Quibi, doing certain things with it. There's one where they realize they've never shot an unarmed white guy, so they look for an unarmed white guy to shoot. There's ones they have one bit that I think is the one that a lot of people like, is they have Paul Walter Hauser, who was in the Richard Jewell movie playing a security guard for the police station, which is very meta and hilarious and a typical Reno 911 bit. I thought that was really great. He's very game for it as well. You have cameos from everyone from Dave Holmes, Patton Oswalt, Tim Allen is in this as someone who runs Space Force. Yes, Buzz Lightyear does a Space Force parody. He is really good in this. He was very game for it. Ron Perlman as well, Danny Trejo. Jim Rash does a part in this, which I don't know, was he in the original? I think he was. But they do really funny bits on this. One that I think is a real standout is they do a really cool tracking shot, a funeral shot where the police are pallbearers, and it's this crazy tracking shot where they carry the casket from the church to the burial site, and all these crazy things happen. There's one shot where I know there's a cut, because I always look for like, where's the cut where like suddenly the camera goes against a wall, or like they pass a porta potty. I'm like 100% sure there's a cut there. But regardless, it was really hilarious sequence. I loved like just watching some of those. Sometimes I'm just watching the logistics of those things. My wife didn't think that part was as funny as I did, but I found it. I just remember just sort of watching it, and I was watching these, and I just remember like it literally stopped me. Like I was just staring at this thing like, holy crap, that's an amazing shot. And I don't know if it's as funny as just like awe-inspiring that they did it. As well as they do some cool things with the technology. You know, they do these 2 bits in it where suddenly, I think it's actually 3 bits now that I think about it, where it'll suddenly say rotate. And I was like, that's weird. They never really say that. And I rotated my phone, and I was like, well, what if I rotate back? And it's literally, you know how it's like the, let me get my phone. Hold on. There's probably a notification. Oh, there is. Oh, someone commented on my photo. Cool for them. So, you know, normally you go like this, and you're supposed to switch. And it's supposed to, basically the idea was it's the same shot, just a different kind of, you know, portrait and landscape. It was basically, they wanted you to shoot it with different cameras, but be the same shot when I talked about the turnstile technology. But this, they did a different thing, where this way it's one shot, and this way it's another shot. Now, in some way, in a couple of them, it's like basically like a different angle, and it's interesting. But then they did one that you actually can go back and forth and get interesting, funny comedy bits. Where they had, I believe it's Trudy, the one cop is live streaming her basically like putting a glue rat trap to like wax herself. She's live streaming on Instagram, and then Paul Walter Hauser is watching it on his phone. And when you go like this, you watch her, and go like this, you're watching him. That was really funny. I got to give it to them for that, because that was actually really cool. I really like that, because it was basically like a reason for me to... I rewatched even to see all their reactions, and I like just flipping between the two things. So I really got to give it to them, because that was a cool use of it. Did another one with Dangle running around, which is another tracking shot, and you saw the body cam footage was the one way, and then I think landscape was the actual shot, and portrait, it's upside down, was portrait was the body cam, the horizontal was the regular shot. Anyway, if you like Reno 911, the Quibi episodes definitely hold up. If you sign up for Quibi and you're like, I signed up, I should cancel it before they charge me, just watch the Reno 911 stuff. It's great. It's funny. It's the regular standard of Reno 911. I did learn when researching this, sadly, Reno 911, this is the first reboot. They tried to reboot it in 2011 on Netflix. It didn't take because people were busy. It didn't work out. But Reno 911, actually, one of the reasons they wanted to make 12 episodes was because it only has 88 episodes, and they didn't have enough for syndication. Although I thought it was syndicated, but they wanted to make it better for syndication with the Netflix deal, and that didn't work out. So this is actually the second time they've tried a revival. There are only 12 of the Quibi Reno 911s. I think they're generally really good. You get some cool guest stars. They definitely use the money in fun, effective ways. They do a bunch of stuff with, like, a lot of episodes end with the cops in Reno 911 making ads for the Reno Sheriff's Department, which are actually really funny. They do some stuff with, like, pronoun jokes, which I didn't love, but they're not offensive. They're just them being silly. But I think, and they have this kind of plain set that they use probably too many times, but Reno 911 is always consistently great, and I would honestly say... it's the best thing that Quibi did, and they actually had fun with the technology. They had fun with the money. I mean, they have this awesome tracking shot, and it's hilarious. They have like a lot of really funny bits. They had one where they had a gun fashion show, where everyone just starts shooting at each other. It just, Patton Oswalt is blocking a unisex bathroom, and that was really funny. Just like broadcasting like he's a low rent. Was it Glenn Beck or whoever? It's a really funny show. I highly recommend the Reno 911 Quibi episodes. If you just want a good, solid comedy, which Reno 911 for me was all the way through, I would say that is definitely one of them. I don't know. I just loved it, and I think it's the best thing that Reno ever brought to Reno. I think it's the best thing that Quibi has to offer, is just showing you like people who really just know how to make comedy and know how to make quick bits. And Reno 911 was just a bunch of quick bits. So you're really actually, not to go in the Quibi thing, but you're really actually not like changing the show. They're able to still be Reno 911 just like quickly. So they didn't really change anything. And the funny thing is I didn't feel like I was watching a reduced thing. I just felt like I was watching Reno 911, which I think it also shows how strong they are as storytellers. I feel like that's the one thing about Reno 911 is no one appreciated everything they're putting into their comedy and how much work it probably takes to improv and be that funny all the time for 88 episodes. And I think they really did do that rather well in the Quibi, in the Reno 911 Quibi episodes. So definitely check those out if you have Quibi or would like to at some point. Okay, anyway, sorry. So, sorry, I hope that was entertaining for someone. So the next thing is Youngblood. So, I don't know, so Image Comics in the early 90s, when I got into comics when I was in elementary school, and I was lucky that my dad was into comics so I could get a lot more comics, but comics in the early 90s were a big thing for kids. Not like just because I was into comics, like comics were huge. And one of the biggest comic companies was Image Comics. It was particularly when they were debuting. And Youngblood, the first issue, was a huge, huge deal. And I think when that first issue came out, I remember kids in the schoolyard being like, have you heard about Youngblood? And we're telling people about it in detail before it even came out. The hype for Youngblood was crazy. So that was in the early 90s. By the mid-90s, it became pretty clear that Image was going to be made into cartoons. You had the Wildcats one that came out in the 94-95 season on CBS and only lasted one season, and tried to go against X-Men, which seems to be a similar story to what happened with Youngblood. Youngblood, the cartoon, I had previously heard when I was a kid and remember reading in Wizard Comics but couldn't find for this. That it was pitched to ABC and ABC found it to be too violent, or they made some pitch for ABC and they thought it was too violent. I have not been able to find out if that was verified. I did remember hearing people talk about that in comic book stores and things like that. Maybe that was true, maybe it wasn't, maybe ABC saw the comic, we're like, I'm not doing this. But anyway, basically what happened with this is they did animate some stuff for it. And it was actually going to happen on the Fox Kids network. And it was supposed to be on the same Saturday morning block as X-Men. There seems to be some conflicting reports that it was going to replace X-Men in the 95-96 season. I sort of doubt that. That was around the time they were doing the Phoenix saga for the X-Men animated show. And they clearly had a lot of faith in them because they let them do Phoenix for an entire season. And I know that's been hailed as one of the better seasons of that show. So I don't think... I really don't think that... That was what was going to happen. I know Mark Silvestri has said that they were going to replace X-Men. That's not the case. But they were developing this, and they developed this with an animation studio called Roustabout Productions, which I've found nothing about. They basically like made this Youngblood thing and nothing. And they've only made two things of this, which was presumably sort of like a character introduction thing that looked really rough. It's sort of, the animation reminds me of MTV's Head, which at some point I should review. And they made another sequence which came out on YouTube in 2013, which is a little more detailed and shows promise. I think it could have been something. But what happened basically with the Youngblood show is they were going to pitch this as an hour block with Youngblood and a Cyber Force cartoon, which was from Mark Silvestri. Youngblood was from Rob Liefeld. It was going to be an hour block. It didn't have a name, basically. It wasn't going to be the Image Comics block. Maybe it was, but that was the idea. That was the concept. And they never really drew or animated anything for Cyber Force. I couldn't find anything. If you can, put it in the comments of this video or something. But the Youngblood cartoons actually look cool. I think especially the sequence they did and the opening thing I thought was pretty cool. But Cyber 6. Oh, I should watch that. Anyway. But yeah, so the Youngblood thing, they animated these things and presented it to Fox. And Saban found out about this and made... Saban and Marvel made them... Fox signed an exclusive deal to only make basically Marvel superhero shows, or maybe if it was adapted from a comic, it could only be from Marvel or something like that. I'm fairly certain that deal made Silver Surfer happen and Avengers, so forth. But yeah, they basically made it so the Image shows couldn't happen because they didn't want that competition. So they were just scrapped entirely. And Roustabout Productions, I know it was said Nick Dubious was the creator, and he said the Youngblood series, would take a lighthearted approach with tongue-in-cheek humor. Not exactly sure what that means with Youngblood, but they were really putting a lot of effort into it. But it never came to pass. The Youngblood animation they did create ended up being in ads for Youngblood toys, which I don't remember at the time, but if you watch the ads, looks like they have a rapping Rob Liefeld, even though it's definitely not Rob Liefeld. Image Comics never really got to make that many animated shows. They did in the mid-90s. Actually, the 95 was the peak year of animation from Image Comics. You got the end of the Wildcat show on CBS. You also had the Savage Dragon show on USA from 1995 to 96, which got about 26 episodes, I believe, maybe more. You have Spawn was on HBO from 97 to 99. That was probably the most hailed of all of them. The Max was also on MTV in 1995. So basically, the mid '90s was peak for Image Comics. We still don't have a lot of Image Comics stuff being made or media of it, but it was kind of a big thing in the '90s. Image Comics was everywhere. It was like Spawn, in particular, and Wildcats. Youngblood debuted really high, but it like never really became a big title. Like I remember being swept up in the hype for Youngblood, but it took so long for 2 to come out that I didn't really care about them as much. Whereas Wildcats, like by the time issue 2 came out, I wasn't reading the comic as much. But Wildcats, like I knew every issue, And then, especially by the mid-90s, Gen 13 had hit and other things. So Image Comics was sort of booming. But I think the Image... good night, Black Saxon. I think the Tick was canceled because it didn't sell merchandise. This is what I've always heard, but maybe I can look into that later. But it is interesting, there was this Youngblood cartoon that made it pretty far, and it's been talked about at comic conventions. Everybody thought it could have been a promising cartoon. I don't really believe that, because the brand just wasn't strong enough. Wildcats, there was a lot of hype around, but it is odd that Image, they basically made X-Men clones. If you look at the Wildcats character designs, if you look at the Youngblood character designs, if you look at the Cyberforce character designs, everyone had a fucking Wolverine. Everyone had this character and that character. It was just a ripoff of another one. It was fairly obvious. So going up against X-Men didn't work. Wildcats tried with CBS. They aired at the same time as X-Men. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't watch a lot of Wildcats, even though the theme song I loved. It was like, I won't sing. It was like, Wildcats will talk to people. I don't even remember the thing. But, good night, Black Saxon Winkle again. But Wildcats didn't hit because eventually you're just going to watch X-Men because it was a good show. I get why, because you had hits like X-Men and Batman the Animated Series. By the way, if you're wondering what happened to Batman the Animated Series, it had gone to WB by the time it was 95, 96. So obviously they're going to sign a deal with Marvel because, they didn't have the DC stuff anymore. Image, I think it had a lot of promise, but the Max show is probably the best one. I've heard a lot of acclaim for the Spawn show. But Youngblood has always been a fascination of mine, the cartoon, just because I always heard when I was a kid, throughout the 90s, it was too violent to be approved. And now that I'm an adult, I'm like, so a production company would spend a ton of money on a cartoon show for Saturday morning that no one would get to watch because it wouldn't be approved. Doesn't make any sense. But if you watch the animation of the theme song part and the extended part, you kind of see some cool stuff there. I think it could have been sort of neat. I wish they had kind of worked out a deal or gone to another network. I think it could have been a cool, one season wonder. But, Wildcats wasn't a great cartoon. The Max certainly was. I would love to review that one day. Other things like that. But Image just didn't become this big thing because I think also, it just... You can't just keep ripping off the X-Men and the other Marvel characters, and they weren't the best written. And I think Youngblood was the extreme of that. But it's always been kind of this lost big animated project to me, and I didn't know about the Cyberforce thing until now, and there's nothing been really made of it that's ever been released of it, and the Youngblood stuff has sort of leaked out over the years, but and I know they made a cool Youngblood set for a Comic-Con. They did put a lot of money behind Youngblood, hoping it would be promise of more stuff, but that's never materialized. I do think Image Comics, if Netflix made a cool Image Youngblood movie, I think people would come out for it, or a Youngblood cartoon. I still think the promise is there for it. I think they should do it at one point. But it's kind of interesting to think about a major 90s comic book that almost got a promising cartoon show, and from a Roustabout Productions, I think, which never got its shot at having that production company killed by an exclusive deal from a company that had all its number one shows. And I don't know if they were right to do it, and I don't know if the Youngblood would have really hurt them as much as they thought it would, but they basically showed, don't fuck with us, we're Marvel and we have all your cards, and sort of killed them in the process, even if they couldn't kill Image Comics themselves. It's sad that it didn't happen, because part of me, it's like a cool cartoon that I wish could have been something, but never got to. So, anyway, that is the deal with the Youngblood cartoon, the 90s cartoon, the extreme 90s cartoon that never got to be truly extreme, from Extreme Studios. No, it wasn't on Fox Kids then. Really? I thought it moved by then. I don't know about that, Ryan. Anyway. All right, before we move on to other... That's weird. To other things. Well, no. We are moving on. This is the question portion. So if you guys have a question, what are we? Some kind of wildcat? That's funny. What Ultra Force is an Image, so I didn't talk about it. But I know they had a show. Anyway, but thank you, Austin, for bringing it up. That's a good point. All right, so before we get to the questions, I have one Patreon question from Sinram, and then we will talk about... we'll just answer questions. We'll end out the show. All right. So, from Sinram, whose channel you should check out, I checked carefully. Okay, I know you do, but I don't remember it still being on Fox Kids at that point. It seems to me it just went to W. Maybe that was in my... Maybe it was. Okay, well, I'll cut that part out when I use it later. All right, so Sinram asks if Ryan's right. If he said it was right. Okay, I was wrong, but no, that's a good one. Thank you for checking that, Ryan. Okay. Sinram asks, can you recommend any animated shows or shorts that take direct inspiration from Star Trek, similar to Galaxy Quest or the Orville? I mean, I guess the Star Trek animated show. I guess that's a weak answer. You know what is a good sci-fi show, and I don't think is a good answer to your question, though? I'm sorry, is Time Masters, which was from the guy who made Fantastic Planet. I would say that one. But that's not... I can't think of one that would be good. I feel like the chat's probably going to be better at this. It was more Star Trek. A sci-fi show that was more Star Trek-like. I don't know. I'm just going to say Time Masters, because if you like that sort of thing, I think it would check off that box, but that's not a show. That's a movie. I don't know how easy it is to find that movie right now, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah. I did like the pizza delivery clip. Good job, Blood T. Good job. That was really cool. Send me more when you have it. Okay, let's just answer a question. I don't know what to answer that. I apologize, Sinram. I did think about that before, and I was like, I don't know, and I never came up with... Anyway. Alright, is Ransam Film the first one? Yeah. Okay, Ransam Film asks, what Best Picture winners were well-deserved? Say Moonlight. I would say Parasite. I would say Marty. I would say the 90s didn't really... I mean, Schindler's List. The Godfather 2. Yeah. Those are the ones that come to mind off the top of my head. I would say those. Oh, No Country for Old Men. I like The Hurt Locker. I don't give a shit. I'd say that one. Those are a bunch. There we go. Ace the Wind Rider. Who would win in a battle of wits? Ferris Bueller or Zach Morris? Ferris Bueller. Absolutely. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Okay. Toon J explained. Okay. Fox Kids sold the rights to Batman until 1987. That's why Fox Kids WB made Superman in 96. Okay. I guess the exclusive deal was probably because they knew they were losing Batman. Okay, that explains a part of it. All right. Thank you, Toon J. Again, I know Ryan's usually right, so... No, he's probably... anyway, I shouldn't have put that in. I should have looked up that part. Anyway. Further. Austin, where are the nuclear vessels? Nice. I love a Star Trek 4 reference. I saw that in theaters, actually. Cornbread, with Saber's Lord of the Ring question, were you implying that Elijah has the biggest wood? Yep. I walked into that. Bruce Parker, which streaming service should bring back Clone High? I think that's in a weird thing where, like, doesn't Disney own part of it and MTV? Somebody should. You're right. I don't know if Phil Lord and Chris Miller are pretty busy, though, so that you would have to get them to have it be interesting at all. But they should. I would say Netflix. Netflix got money. They can do it. Bruce Parker. No, I just did that one. Sorry. Embla T. There should be a Disaster Artist sequel called Disaster Artist, The Oral History of the Butthole Cut, and the titular butthole is Tom Hooper, who is the Tommy Wiseau of Oscar winners. Agreed. Question, did you have braces? I did. If you can tell by my teeth, I basically told them when I put them on I would not wear the retainer, and I didn't want to have braces because it wasn't a like a necessity thing. It was it was like a cosmetic thing, and I was not into it. And I said, like, I don't want to do this, and they made me do it. And I said, if you do this, I will not wear the retainer, and all this money will be wasted. And they said, oh, you will. And they did not realize how stubborn I was. And then I'm sort of not proud of that, but you shouldn't make a kid do that sort of thing. And I did actually try the retainer one night, and then it fell out of my mouth while I was sleeping, and I landed on it, and it hurt me. And that shit was done. And I was like, fuck you guys. And I even said at my meetings, like, when you have to go to the orthodontist, like, I'm really not doing it. I told them for 2 years. Anyway, we've unearthed something I shouldn't get into. Not plausible. Do you have a recommendation list for HBO Max this month? I don't. I'm not going to do a recommendation this week because the movie review vote is this week. So it'll be next week because HBO Max hasn't come out yet. But when next week it will. Question: have you seen Looney Tunes Back in Action? If you haven't, I'd highly recommend it on Netflix from Nathaniel Foga. I haven't, and I should review it at some point. I've heard it's really good. Oh man, I went up. I lost my place. No. Amadeus. You're right. Amadeus. $1 Million Baby. I'd agree as well. Oh, Time Masters. Okay, where are we? I missed the Zane Powers. Did I? I think. Where am I? Jesus. All right. I hope I didn't. Okay, no, I'm in the right place. Cornbread. Have you ever had peach Red Bull? No, I haven't. Jacob Shelter. Are we going to get through with this? Are we going to get through with this Camp Coral debacle? Some guy, a script coordinator, claims Steven Holmberg knew about the spin-off, which is why it's included in the film. Yeah, I've heard that. I kind of Camp Coral. I'm not too upset because I haven't seen it yet, and I kind of agree with the show. People who run the show is like, could we watch it first? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, apparently he sort of knew about it, and it doesn't seem like he's ever been that upset. Apparently he made comments before he didn't want to spin off and that they would do this at some point. But to me, it's like, let's see the show. Let's hear the show out because people do work on it. When the show comes out, then we can hate it. I agree with that, to be honest with you. But I don't think it's a great idea, but let's hear them out because there's a lot of bad idea. Like Lego Movie didn't sound like a good idea. It's one of the best animated movies of the last decade. So let's hear them out. Bruce Parker, what's the worst animated Cartoon Network episode from the 90s, and why is it the Dexter vs. Santa Claus episode? Maybe, I don't know what I would pick for that, so I'm not sure. I don't know, Bruce Parker. I don't know. I like all that stuff, so I don't know. I don't know what I would pick for that. I pass, I guess. Zane Powers, any advice on writing main antagonists? I've been writing and realizing my weaknesses are antagonists meant to be the encapsulation of the antithesis of the hero. I can do regular bad guys fine. I would say a good antagonist has to do with the theory of the piece you're working on. If you look at The Incredibles, the whole theory and the crux of it had to do with the fact that like he wanted superheroes to come back, and the whole idea of superheroes and the ego, and how he was the extreme side of it, and how Mr. Incredible wanted that back. And like I would say, like understanding how the villain is at a part of your piece, a part of your story. If you look at weaker films, the antagonist is just sort of there to cause trouble. It shouldn't be that. It should be part of the whole encapsulation of it, and then you have a stronger antagonist if it is necessary to the plot and themes of the film. Question, remember Spider-Man Unlimited? I sort of do. What's an old cartoon that's overrated for not plausible? Man, I don't really want to step in it. Overrated. An old cartoon that's overrated. I don't know. I don't know if the Smurfs holds up. Maybe that one. Okay. What's something you really liked as a kid but is no longer PC in this climate? From Zane Powers? Probably Cosby Show. Time Masters on YouTube. Did you know Sergeant Kabuki Man was going to have a cartoon like Toxic Avenger? I have heard that, Austin. That's interesting. What's something, Zane Powers, what's something people are nostalgic for that's dumb? Full House. Nathaniel Fogel, have you seen Cop Out? If you did, what is your thoughts on it? I did see Cop Out. I didn't like it. It sort of sucked. I don't remember it other than that. Zane Powers, question, can you do an impression of a corporate suite meddling in a film? Impression. I would just say probably Justice League. Cornbread, does Mojo Jojo own WatchMojo.com? Probably. That's funny. Which platform from Jacob Shelter better to revive a council show? Netflix or Adult Swim? Can you spot the irony? Yeah, that's true. Probably Adult Swim. They've had a better track record and they stick with it. Netflix canceled Mystery Science Theater, so fuck them forever. Pascal Vina, what's your thoughts on the 1979 Spielberg comedy 1941? I think it is very well shot. It's actually very well made. It's not that funny, but it's an interesting film. But I don't think it's a good movie. But it's interesting to see Spielberg at the top of his game making a comedy. And it just, none of the comedy works, but it's just like really beautiful film to look at. The Ghetto Beaner, have you picked up any hobbies during quarantine? Just hang out with my kid more, having more fun with her. I'd say that would probably be the biggest one. Okay, let's do two more. M-Blood T. If Tenet really opens that date, is it a bright idea to take the risk even if curve has flattened, or drive-ins are a way to go? I would say drive-ins are. I would say if it's not, maybe don't. Is Tenet worth it? No. You know? Is it worth it? I don't think you do. Not plausible. Do you have any impressions of a stereotypical New Yorker? I would say at this point, doing the New York accent I don't hear many people like that. So the typical New Yorker is like, I'm listening to my podcast. Let's vote for Bernie. I don't, stuff like that. But that's not even typical. New York's too diverse to do a typical thing. We have, okay. Hold on. We have let me do what's in the box, Ryan. That's nice. What was better, Sonic or Scoob? I was thinking that the other day, Zane Powers, and I would say Sonic. Thoughts on a King Features Syndicate animated universe like The Phantom and Cats and Jammer Kids? Cats and Jammer starring with Popeye like with Scoob did. I think that would be a cool idea. I like that idea. Medela Butterfly, and cheers to you. I think that's what we'll end it on. $5.01. That's an interesting one. All right, so I want to thank everyone for coming out. Sorry if I didn't get your question. It is getting kind of late. I wanted to thank everyone for being so supportive. I wanted to bring to your attention, I think I had a lot of cool content this week. I'm actually really happy with the content I made this week, from the Netflix recommendations, which obviously was from last week, to November 2019 video, to the Scoob project, to It Was a Beautiful Day. What was it? Whatever. It's a long day. Finally did the Midnight Gospel review. I felt really proud of this week, as well as my Spyscape video with John Le Carre. This is the Saber Sparks video I helped write for Scooby-Doo clones. I felt it was a really great week of content, and I'm really happy with it. So, I don't know. Felt like it was a productive week. And then did 2 panels. And this show. So it's been a productive week. It's time to end it. And it's time to end this week. And I want to thank you all very much for coming out and being cool and being supportive, as you always are. And for the super chats and for everything. And, it was a weird day doing MomoCon from my bedroom, which is this now. But it's over. And yeah. All right. You all have a good night. I'll see you next time. And subscribe if you would like to. Peace out, guys. Thank you again.